ज्योतिस्तव भानुमानहनिले रात्रौ प्रदीपादिकम् यादेवम् रविदीप दर्शनविधौ यादेवम् रविदीप दर्शनविधौ ज्योतिराख्याहि मे यच्चित्तस्य मुनेन नादे समये सिन्धुर्धियो दर्शने किं तत्राहमिति भवान् परमते ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो प्रभो ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो। Namaste everyone. I think namaste is not so often. Namaste everyone. Thank you so much. I started with a particular thing. All of you might be aware of this because being Indian, you should know that it is take us slightly of meditation. Today I suppose
as per Caraka Saṃhitā, which is a text of Ayurveda, but it's speaking about various other aspects of life which we are supposed to realize. Many people, they think that the text is meant only for the people of Ayurveda, but it's the text which is very essential for those who are living or those who are alive. You might be in doubt why I started my talk with a particular hymn. All of you, I don't want to use the term listen now, I'll come back to that term later. All of you heard that particular hymn. Was there any feel for you people? How many of you felt something when we did that particular activity? This is workshop, so we are supposed to be active, we are supposed to involve in the activity, which is very important one. So my session will be more of activity based, so all of you should involve actively, that's very important for me. How many of you could feel something during that particular activity? If you have not felt anything, no problem, I'll come to that point later. How many of you felt something during the particular activity? Fine. How many of you could not feel anything during that particular activity? Thank you so much. Very fine. See, if you are able to identify the feel, if you are able to identify the absence of feel, then it's very easy for you to learn the Indian sciences. Feel is the basic quality required for Indian research and Indian research methodology. Don't relate feel with emotion. Emotion is different, feel is different. I'm talking about bhava. I don't have more appropriate term than feel to translate bhava to English language, with due respect to both English professors. So I just translated it as feel or perception. So if perception is not there, then the research thought will never initiate. This is the basic quality required for all of us, because we are here to know about Indian research methodology. So my intention was to initiate, my intention was to generate the feel or the perception which is very essential to know, to understand, to realize, to sense Indian research methodology. That's why I started with that particular Ekashloki. Why only Ekashloki? There are so many other hymns which are having so many therapeutic efficacies and all. Why Ekashloki? Because Ekashloki represents Indian research methodology comprehensively. It's the only hymn, one and only hymn, which speaks about Indian research methodology very systematically, very comprehensively. Keeping that point in mind, I thought it's very ideal to present this Ekashloki. But I should explain what the Ekashloki speaks about, which is very important one. I will explain that in brief, because that is based to understand even Caraka Saṃhitā 2, which is my topic today. What is the source through which everyone can see everything in this universe? That was the question proposed by teacher to a student. Student said, during daytime, I can see everything through sunlight. During night times, I can see everything through moonlight. If there is absence of moonlight, I can see everything through lamp. That was the answer given by the disciple for the question which was posed by the teacher. Then teacher asked a second question. How you are going to feel the presence of light? What is the source to identify the presence of light? Then the student said, as we all know, how we are going to identify the light? Through the presence of indriya, through the presence of sense organs, through eyes, we are able to identify the source of light. Then there was third question from the teacher who asked, how you are going to feel, how you are going to identify the presence of eyes? Then student said, I have one more faculty inside through which I am able to identify the presence of eyes, that is my intellect. How you are going to identify the presence of intellect? That was the next question asked by the teacher. Then the student said, it is myself, through which I can feel the presence of intellect inside me. So finally, teacher said, ultimately, it's you which is the real truth existing in this universe. Everything is one. Everything is one and only one. So this is the theme of that Ekashloki. This feel of oneness is very essential to know Indian research methodology. In all other researches, they focus more on segregation, they focus more on fragmentation, whereas Indian research thought always starts with this oneness, which we are supposed to understand. Caraka Saṃhitā 2 speaks about this oneness extensively for better understanding, for better classification, for better clarification. We categorize them. It doesn't mean that they have independent existence. All components existing in this universe are one and the same. From the point of biology, if you talk about, certainly all human beings are made up of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. Nowadays we say they are made up of quantum. From the point of physics, if you consider universe, the whole universe is made up of minute particles. We crossed atoms again. We say that the whole universe is made up of quantum. Then automatically everything is one and the same. That's what Indian thinking is. So if we have this Indian culture, if we have this Indian value, if we possess this, then understanding Indian research methodology will be very easy for us. That's why I have given the name Purnam for my presentation, which is the synonym or which is the nama mentioned in Vishnu Sahasranama. Of course, we know Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnam eva avashishyate. So we all are familiar with this verse. So this is what Indian thinking is. So if this is not there, then it's not possible to move further in Indian research methodology or in Indian research culture. With this, let me talk about the drishti. One more point I have to tell. I presented my shloka. It is not my shloka, I am very sorry to say that. With a particular raga in Karnataka Shastriya Saṃhitā. We call that raga as Pantuvarali. That raga is meant to initiate inquisitiveness, is meant to initiate analysis. We come to these 2 points later. So there is need to have inquisitiveness as well as analysis, which are the two important eyes of Indian research methodology. So the raga Pantuvarali is meant for the same. So with that orientation, I started my presentation with the particular raga for that particular shloka. The drishti vision for my presentation is this one. At the end of this session, let us get sensitized. I'm very particular about the term what I'm using here. We are not getting expertized after the presentation. It is only a process of sensitization. Let us get sensitized about research orientation of research orientation in. I am responsible for what I am talking about. So that's why I have used those terminologies of Caraka Saṃhitā. The mission what I am going to utilize today are three. First one is a Shastra, which is utmost neglected at every point of time. I want to stress this. For Indian research methodology, literature is the ultimate source. Literature is the one and only source. It's not like collecting some references from somewhere and moving further. Certainly no. Let me put this statement again. Shastra is the first component which has to be considered seriously in Indian research methodology. Let me just mention the voluminous status of Shastra in Indian literature. Literature is different, Shastra is different. Again, let me say, Samskrita is a beautiful, I don't have any term to explain it because it is beyond language. That much I can tell. Because Samskrita has been utilized in Tattva Shastra in a different way. Samskrita has been utilized in Vaidya Shastra in a different way. Samskrita has been utilized in Tarka Shastra in a different way. I mean to say they have deviated. No. With classical methodology only they have used. One example I'll give, then you will understand the depth, breadth, length of the Samskrita. I don't want to call it a Sanskrit because it's something different. While narrating the stages of disease in Ayurveda, they explained the different stages. While narrating each stage, they used the Samskrita word cha. From the point of language, the meaning of cha is end. Okay. But in Caraka Saṃhitā and Sushruta Saṃhitā, the word cha has been used in a distinct way, which is applicable to Vaidya Shastra, which is applicable to medicinal science. So, in between two stages of a disease, the word cha has been used. The word cha is not conveying the meaning and there. They identified two distinct stages of a disease. In between also, there may be manifestation of some subdivisions. The word cha is indicating those possibilities of manifestation of subdivisions there. Are you getting how the word in Sanskrita is getting transformed when it is used in Vaidya Shastra? Same thing is applicable to Tarka, same thing is applicable to Tattva if we go on reading those texts. I am just highlighting the importance of Samskrita Bhasha, which is very essential for every specialist. You might be from the field of political science, you might be from the field of science, you might be from the field of economics, whatever it might be. But knowing Samskrita is very important, because if you know Samskrita, then you will get exposed well. You will be expertised in the field of Indian research methodology. So I'm highlighting Shastra here with this perspective. So if Indian research methodology always starts with Shastra, I mean to say, if I want to translate it, it starts with literature. Whereas all forms of researches, what we are observing these days, all forms of researches, they end with literature. This is the difference what we are supposed to know. The process of documentation that starts at the end. But for us, the source is a Shastra. From there the quest should start. So this is the basic difference what we are supposed to know. So the mission for my presentation is a Shastra. I have to obey Shastra. I have to respect Shastra, which is very important one. Second one is Tattva. Shastra speaks about the concept which we are supposed to know well. Third, whatever that has been explained in all Indian sciences, they have the application. This we are supposed to sense. Whatever might be the subject. So all the subjects are having practical applicability. We call it as Prayoga. So my mission for today's presentation are three. How I am going to congregate everything. So there will be interaction in between. Of course, few things I have to demonstrate that will be done. So there will be group performance, individual performances. I have to take AV assistance, which is very important one. So I have to give some talk in between, because they have invited me to give talk only. So I have to talk in between. So there will be workshop, because all of you, all of us, including me, should involve. I think handouts have been distributed already, the soft copy. Self-experience is the very important one. Soft copy has been distributed. I think all of you have. That is in your WhatsApp. Yes, activities will be there. So this is how the congregation of both the previous components, Drishti and Samasti is going to be, the Drishti and Srishti is going to be congregated under Samasti. Before moving further, there are few components which are very essential for all of us, which is mentioned again in Caraka Saṃhitā. So there should be self-preparedness for all these things. So that is possible through these 6 qualities. I will explain this at the end. Remind me at the end. That is your responsibility. Before moving further, I think all of you have a pad, notepad. All of you have pen, right? Okay. You take one small chit out of that. Half part of the sheet you take. Cut it well. Cut it well. पाड़ना नहीं, अच्छी तरह से कट कीजिए. I have to tell that, which is very important. Present generation expects all these things. Okay. Cut it well. You just write down what you expect from this session. Within 1 minute, you just, this is not for you people, madam. It's only for the students. You just write down what do you expect from my presentation. Your expectation from my presentation. It is not a question which carries 10 marks or 15 marks. It carries only 1 or 2 marks. So write 1 or 2 sentences. What do you expect from my presentation? Okay. Keep that sheet with you only. We have some other things to do later, again with the same sheet. Okay. So keep that sheet with you. That is very important one. We will move on further. As I already said, I am going to talk about the subject based on exclusively the Caraka Saṃhitā, a text which is a lifeline to the practitioners of Ayurveda. There we get the description regarding Eshana. It's the quest. So I have given the name as Eshana Ashtanga. 8 divisions are there, but these 8 divisions, they are associated with each other. That point we have to keep in mind, that I mentioned earlier also. 8 divisions in association of or for search as per Caraka Saṃhitā. Let us try to know this one by one. Whenever we are talking about Indian research methodology or ancient research methodology, this concept we have to know well, as it is stated there. This is point number 1. Prathama Anga, I want to call it as first Anga. We should sense universe. We should sense individual. We should understand the association between universe as well as individual. Whatever may be the subject you are studying about, those subjects are not dissociated from these 3 components. This you have to sense. Okay, so first we should understand universe, first we should understand self, and then we should understand the association between universe as well as the self, which is very important one. Then we will have that research value or culture properly. If we are not understanding this, then it's not possible to move further. So this is the first Anga I wanted to share with you people. I think this is sufficient for you. We will move on to that later also. Division number 2, Dvitiya Anga. We have 2 components which are existing in this universe. One we call it as Sthula, that is gross component. Another one we call it as Sukshma, that is a subtle component. So if our level of understanding is at the level of gross, that's also fine. If our level of understanding is subtle, that's also fine. If we are in between, and neither if we are able to understand or accept Sthula, nor we are able to understand, accept Sukshma or subtle, then the problem starts. So the process of conversion of Sthula as well as Sukshma should be known well. The component Sthula should be known well. The component Sukshma should be known well, which is very essential to know properly the Indian research culture. This is division number 2. Moving on to the third component, that is division number 3, we started our journey from Rishi intelligence. We are in the era of artificial intelligence. I am not opposing artificial intelligence. But my worry is somewhere in strengthening artificial intelligence, we are losing Rishi intelligence. That's my worry. Artificial intelligence has been created by human, but artificial intelligence itself is dominating human, where human has lost that capability or power. That's worrying me, because it's very important again to know and realize and sense Indian research methodology. So we have crossed from Rishi to artificial intelligence, but there is need to synthesize both intelligently again to work to move further very appropriately in the field of Indian research methodology. That requires again two components as I mentioned there. One is Dhyana Chakshu, second one is Jnana Chakshu. We should have these two eyes. I think those two terminologies are self-explanatory. All of you can understand it. So there is, yes madam. Dhyana and there is Jnana. Very fine. Dhyana Chakshu, it is talking about persistent focusing required to achieve anything and everything. That is Dhyana Chakshu. Jnana Chakshu, it speaks about the level of knowledge, level of information you are in need of to accomplish or achieve anything or everything. So these two are mandatory to move further. So I want to call it as Tritiya Anga. Moving on to the fourth one, as you all know, our ancestors, they were preserving their knowledge. Where? It was Mastakastha Vidya. Nowadays, if you ask me something, wait, I'll search. It has become Karastha Vidya. But when we blend both again, don't you think we can conquer many more things? This is what required. Why I'm stressing these two components means, in Caraka Saṃhitā, it is very beautifully mentioned, the phrase of Veda, Kritsno hi loko buddhimatam acharya. I mean to say, if you are intelligent enough, or if you are seeking to be an intelligent person, or if you are expecting yourself to be an intelligent, then for you, the whole universe is a teacher. Whatever good things you get, you take it, you progress further. That's what Caraka Saṃhitā speaks about. Okay, so that's why I mentioned these two are as a specific anga, which is very essential to move further in Indian research methodology. Moving on to the Panchama anga, we have a term called as Satya Buddhi in Caraka Saṃhitā. It is not Satya Buddhi. It is Satya Buddhi. I have given near translation for the same, real root form of any knowledge. So always we should move further to have reality about everything. As I mentioned the example earlier, previously we were saying that human is made up of systems. Then journey progressed. Then we started telling that human is not made up of system. Human is a group of organized organs. Then we started telling that human is a conglomeration of tissues. Then came the concept of cytology. Then came the concept of molecular level biology or molecules. Then came the concept of subparticles. Finally, we are taught, it is not final. I mean to say, it's not final. Okay. So now we are talking about quantum. So journey is moving on. So this reality we have to sense. We call it as Satya Buddhi. That's what mentioned as Satya Buddhi in Caraka Saṃhitā. So always there should be quest to understand universe. Always there should be quest to understand human and the association between two. So the outcome they call it as Satya Buddhi. Okay. So this is the fifth anga I want to share with you. The sixth utmost one is Karya Karana Siddhanta. I won't touch now itself because on this we are going to discuss extensively now onwards. We have so many activities on this also. So the whole phenomena, whatever we are observing, that is exclusively based on cause and effect, as you all know. Universe is moving only because of the concept of cause and effect, that is Karya as well as Karana. So knowing this, understanding this, sensing this is very essential to understand the concept of Indian research thought. Of course, we all know this. This is a common, famous verse which we come across in Vedanta philosophy. Aham Brahmasmi. This is an integral component of Indian research. What's happening? our research thinking is from inside to outside. That has to be reversed from outside to inside. So when our journey is reversed, then Indian research thinking thought starts. Indian research value gets germinated. Otherwise, it's not possible. So if you want to have the germination of Indian research thought, then your journey should be reversed. That's what I intended to tell about. The last, but not the end, is the specific requisites to move further in Indian research are three. One is, we call it as Eshana. There should be quest. The same term has been used in Caraka Saṃhitā. We have the description regarding Trividha Eshana. Of course, this is not the platform to talk about that. So there should be quest always, which is very important one. Second one, Prashna. Individual should have inquisitiveness, or the person should have the capacity to put the question. As I know, according to the English grammar, we have 4 methods of putting questions, if I am not wrong, madam. There are 4 methods of putting questions, am I right? Exactly. We have 4 methods. Do you know how many methods of questioning we have in Indian sciences? In Caraka Saṃhitā, we have 28 methods of putting questions. Can you understand the weightage of putting question? So if you are capable to, you talk about research question, right? So knowing this is very important. Got it? So that's what Prashna speaks about. Caraka Saṃhitā guides us how to put question. We have 28 methods, and they are kind enough, they are open enough, they kept other options for us. You can put more than this also. That's what they said. I'm going to talk about that concept later as Anukta. This is how the Indian system has been developed, which we are supposed to sense. So if we have inquisitiveness, if our research starts with appropriate inquisitiveness, then it is possible to complete research properly. The third important component required is Jijñāsa, which again has been explained with so many components in Caraka Saṃhitā in Ayurveda too. We should know analysis. They have used the term Tarka, Vitarka, not Kutarka. Much of importance, I should mention that, much of importance has been given for Tarka as well as Vitarka extensively, and the qualities, method, everything has been mentioned. We are going to talk about Vadamarga later, which is one unique component, concept which is explained exclusively in Caraka Saṃhitā. I want to tell about that later. So these 3 are very essential to be inculcated by every person to develop Indian research thinking, Indian research methodology. With this, we will move on to the subject proper. Okay, so I'm not going to mention all the informations, all the techniques, all the concepts explained in Caraka Saṃhitā, because as I come to know that people from various other disciplines are here. So I'm just highlighting some general methodologies which are mentioned in Caraka Saṃhitā, which can be utilized by everyone for every purpose of research. With this background, I think you want to ask something. Yes, please. Yeshana is the quest which is going to be organized in Prashna. It's desire. You have a desire, but that has to be organized well. If it is not organized well, then you cannot move further. But organization you do in a form of questioning. That is Prashna. Shall we move further? Yes. All of you are comfortable? Yes. No problem? Don't you feel that I am talking in some foreign language? No. Thank you so much. Okay. So with this, I will move on to the next component of my talk. Before starting that talk, Yes. Let us do an activity. I think all of you are ready. Sorry, yeah? Okay. All of you are seeing something there, okay? Right?
Correct.
It is presenting a seed and it is presenting a plant. Okay? So we know that plant is representing the effect, seed is representing cause. Right? Any confusion regarding this? It's clear for everyone. Okay? So seed as well as the plant, they are having the relation cause-effect. Cause, approximately we consider Karana as cause, but Karana is different. It's something beyond that, as I already said. But for understanding now, let us restrict Karana to cause. Similarly, plant, that is representing effect. Okay. So is it possible for the cause to get converted into effect by itself?
No.
What it requires? Very fine. We will take one by one. Madam said we need soil as well as water. Fine. Sunlight. Fine. Air. Fine. Fine. Yeah. Now we are proposing something else. So initially all of you proposed that to convert seed into plant, we need water, air, so and so. Okay. Afterwards, Madam said, there must be someone. There must be someone who can organize all these things. Right? So that someone, we call it as Karana. We are going to the next level of understanding the subject now. So initial level of understanding, we just restricted our understanding to conversion of a seed into plant. Now we are moving to the second level of understanding, wherein we come across with so many other components involved in this process. Are you getting what I'm talking about? Okay. So two components are proposed. One, there is need to have a person who can associate everything. He is going to be considered as Karana. Okay. So then this seed becomes Karya Yoni. This is second level of organization, segregation. See, they are not dissociated. That's what I'm telling. How Indian research thinking moves further. So second level of understanding is not dissociated from first level of understanding. Yes, madam.
When you say that person is Karana, I see him as Karta.
It is the synonym. It is the synonym. That shloka comes later. No, first I am introducing the subject in a different way. The reason is very simple. If I'll come to your point. If I start from the description itself, you may not be able to catch that information. So that's why I'm moving from the example. Yes, sir. Person is called as.
Person is always required because that is the natural process.
I didn't understand.
He's a person always.
100% person is always required. Can you expect this? Without person, in a way, person is required. It is compulsory. Naturally, it happens. That is another. He is talking about that one later. But don't you think in the whole process, somewhere there is presence or need of person? It is required. Not no. It is required. You just go on to the cycle. So in any way, in one level, there will be involvement, which is very essential one. When we are talking about life sciences, when we are talking about the life, there is a contribution of Purusha, there is contribution of person, because we are from this angle, we are from this aspect, we cannot neglect person. Person is very essential. So he is called as Karana. I'll come to that example. Once you get to the subject, then you will understand these points more clearly. Okay. So he is going to be. Where? Yeah, I will come to that point later. Once we will finish it, then I will come back to that one. Nature and that point we will come to later. Okay. So now we got the concept Karana. We got the concept another one, karya. In between, we used something, right? Water, everything. So we call it as karana. Water, air, sunlight, whatever we are using, they are all falling under karana. Now it is clear? 4 terms I introduced now. Karya is there, we know that. So under karana, we introduce more terms. One is karana, another one is karya yoni. Karya yoni. Is it clear? Shall we move further? So this is karya. We saw plant has grown. Okay? So whether it is providing any benefit or not. Is it useful or not? Is it useful or not? It's useful. It should be. Okay? So this is again the extension of karya now we are talking about. So that is nothing but karya phala. The next component is karya phala. Okay? So it is providing some benefit. We are breathing, we are using as wood, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So this effect or this fruit, whatever we are getting, instantly we are getting few effects. In due course, we are getting few effects. Immediately, once the plant grows, we get a few effects. In due course, we get a few effects. Are you getting the point? So that is anubandha. Again, it is an extension. We are moving to the next level of understanding the subject now. So we got the effect. This effect, in due course, can be categorized into 2. One we call it as a karya phala. Another one we call it as anubandha. Okay? It was a seed. Now it is a tree. It has been used for so many other purposes. Is it taking place within fraction of second, or don't you think it is dependent on one more factor? It is kala. Kala has to be considered, which is very important one. One more factor you have to think about. If I have very fine, that is desha. We call it as desha. Sthana or desha. This phenomena is taking place in a particular place, in a particular region, right? Yes or no? That is desha. Okay? Yes, madam. Yeah. Karya phala, see for example, you take food now. When you take food immediately, what you feel? You feel the satisfaction. Your hunger subsides. So that is karya phala. Later, if you have taken good food, your health is going to be maintained. If you have taken fast food and so on, your pani puri, masal puri, so puri, you will suffer from disease. That is anubandha. Later effect. So immediately after a particular action, whatever the effect you see, that is karya phala. Whatever the effects you see later, we call it a subsequent effect. We call it as anubandha. Okay. So desha is clear. Kala is clear. Okay. Seed is there. If seed itself is not willing to grow, seed itself is not willing to grow, then it won't grow. Right? So there should be initiation, which is very important. When we call it as pravritti. Pravritti. It is not action. Action is karya. We will come to again for these points later. Okay. So there should be a force to initiate the action, what we call it as pravritti. That's why I said translating Sanskrit, Samskrita Shabdas into English is always, we are limiting the meaning of those terminologies, but we can communicate with only that language, right? So we have to do that. Pravritti is that grow. Yes, that is pravritti. Yes, sir.
By the word pravritti, Shandatiga or
everything, potency of that particular seed, everything comes under there. Fine. Potency of a seed to grow is pravritti. Okay? You, what, madam?
Job of the seed is to grow.
Everything, all component. Ultimately, it has to germinate. So that potency, that strength, we call it as pravritti. Okay? You want to grow mango tree. Okay? You cultivate hibiscus plant. Can you grow mango fruits out of hibiscus plant? No, don't talk about this one, your what? Bonsai, we can come grafting and all. No. I am talking from the point of nature. Okay. Nowadays you can do many more things. That's different. You can cultivate anything everywhere. That is another issue. But I am talking from the point of nature. Okay. So it's not possible, right? And if appropriate watering, appropriate fertilization or soil, everything is not provided, whether the seed grows well? Certainly no. There should be favorable condition. Okay. There should be appropriate cause or appropriate seed. Okay. And the person who is going to seed, there should be proper association between these three. Farmer and the seed and the environment. Are you getting the point? 3. There should be proper association between these three. Karana, Karya Yoni should have proper qualities and they should get associated well. We call that term as Upaya. We call that term as Upaya. Okay? How many terms over now? Homework. Not many terms. There are specific terms. Not 9. Very nice. We completed 10 terms. Right? I'll repeat. Karana, Karana, Karya Yoni, Karya, Karya Phala, Anubandha, Desha, Kala, Pravritti, Upaya. See, cause and effect, what commonly the science speaks about and what Indian sciences speaks about. Are you getting the difference now? Are you understanding this? So if you understand this, then your way to look into the problem will be different. This is what you are supposed to understand. It's not simple conversion of a seed into, I have mentioned another picture here. If you see the picture, many things will be communicated for you well. It is not a simple phenomena. It's something beyond which has to be understood, which has to be perceived. Is it clear for you? That comes in between. What you said, that is correct. When we are talking about pravritti, it's indicating that pratibandhaka abhava also. So that's why I have not mentioned it. So pravritti itself is talking about the same. The potency, the excellency. And the next one, upaya, there also we are having the same thing. So what you said, that is applicable in the context of Samanya Vishesha, which has been mentioned by Chakrapani. It's very nice. Thank you, madam. Okay. So up to this, is it clear? This is what we are supposed to culture ourselves in our thinking process. As I already said, my duty is to sensitize. I'm very clear, I'm very particular about my methodology, about my presentation. Okay? It's not like I will convert you into experts and all. It's your journey. You have to decide. My motto here is to sensitize, that's all. Okay? So is it clear? So now let us try to have a brief look of these terminologies. Okay. In brief, as I already said, it's a very superficial translation what I could do. Karana, it is talking about the root cause. Karana, it is nothing but the instrument, whatever the person is going to use. Karya yoni, the source of action. Karya, the action itself. Karya phala, fruits of action. Anubandha, it speaks about a subsequent manifestation or subsequent effects. Desha, its habitat. Kala, it's a season. Pravritti, its initiation. Upaya, the means of action, the association between the three components, as I already said. I will not explain the Sanskrit terminologies, but still, in brief, I'll just to show you the description which is mentioned in Caraka Saṃhitā, which is very essential for you to know about. So, Karana has been defined like this. The cause is the one which initiates. Madam was talking about Karta. See, Karana is having the synonym, Sakarta. It's the synonym. Okay. Second one is Karana, that which is going to be utilized by a person to accomplish Karya is called as Karana. So Karya Yoni is the one which becomes Karya itself after transformation or metamorphosis. So that's why it is called as Karya Yoni. Fourth one is Karya, the whole process. It's defined very properly, very appropriately here. It's one whose accomplishment is kept in view before an agent proceeds to act. The whole process of conversion, we call it as a Karya. Fifth one is Karya Phala. It is the Prayojana, the outcome for which the action is initiated. Anubandha, after effect, it might be good or bad, whatever we get, that is Anubandha. Desha, it is nothing but the place where the whole phenomena is taking place. Kala, it is talking about the Parinama, the conversion, the transformation or the metamorphosis, whatever taking place. Pravritti, it is the initiation, as I already said, that is potency, which should be there in Karana to get converted into Karya. Upaya is defined very beautifully. The proper association, that is, two terms have been used here. One is Saustava, second one is Abhividhanam. These two terms are very important here. Karana, Karana, Karya Yoni, they should work together, which is very important one. So the togetherness in working related with Karana, Karana and Karya Yoni is called as Abhividhana. At the same time, the three, Karana, Karana as well as Karya Yoni, they should possess excellency. We call it as Saustavam. Okay. So this is what Upaya means. Okay. So this is a simple translation which may or which could help you to understand these concepts properly. Okay. With this, we will move on to activity now. Let us do group activity. So that you can have interaction with you people, which is very important one. I will make the group of 5, total 33 are there now. Okay, no problem. 5 to 6. In each group, I am expecting 6 participants. So get adjust in that way. This is group 2. So the situation is going to be given for you now. For your group. Hydrogen as well as oxygen molecules are converted into water molecule. Okay? Hydrogen molecule as well as water molecule are converted in, oxygen molecule are converted into water molecule. Clear? No confusion. Okay. So for you people, group 3, rice has been converted into dosa. Now, the reason is, see, I am giving all the examples in a different way. The idea is to make you familiar with the phenomena. Scientific also have given, simple also have given, everything I have given. Okay? Group 4, group 5, group 6. No, this is group 4. Okay, so you are also in the game. Okay, fine. You people are from which specialty, all of you are? Sanskrit, okay. If you are from Sanskrit, then it is fine. Now, you know Navarasas, right? Okay, so you know Navarasa. Hasya Rasa has been presented. Hasya Rasa has been presented in the form of act, not in raga. It has been presented, she is a dancer now, in the form of act. Okay? Okay. You people are from political science. I heard that many students are from political science. All of you are from political. Only one now. You are also in the group. All of you are from Sanskrit. You are from English. No problem. I don't have any problem. So for you people, the example is okay. It is similar with the previous examples, whatever I have given there. With the thread, the cloth has been woven. Thread has been converted into cloth. Is it clear? Okay. For you people, a light is lit. Okay? A light is lit with the help of wick, oil, fire. A light is lit with oil, wick and fire. Clear? Yes.
We don't know how far it is correct, but
there is no question of right or wrong, as I already said. And don't expect me to comment on your activity. I won't comment on any of the activities.
okay, so
Perception is left to you, because my talk started with feel. I should not direct the feel of you people. So it is left to you. Okay, yes.
we got this statement, hydrogen and oxygen molecules, they are transformed, they combined and they made a water. So this is the statement what we have received. So what we did, we have highlighted, Caraka is the researcher.
Very fine. Scientist or researcher. Okay, next. You got the pulse. Okay, fine. Move further.
The Karana is the equipment.
Yes.
Equipments which are required are the Karana. And the Karya only has 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule.
Yes, this is correct. If this is fixed, then there will not be confusion. Okay, move. You sit comfortably.
H2O, hydrogen.
So the combined the atom of hydrogen oxide is the Karya phal. That
Yes.
is exactly what we have received.
Then Kala is the time which
Yes,
is
fine.
required. Desha is the lab. We are making
Very fine. You specified lab. Okay, fine.
Pravruti is the chemical reaction which it is going through. Then Upaya is the transformation of water molecule and the observations.
Observing, so maybe by observation we understood yes, this is a water. So that
See, I'll give a bit of clarification. That is correct. For better understanding, I'll give an example. With hydrogen molecule as well as oxygen molecule, there can be manifestation of hydrogen peroxide. Are you getting the point? Okay. So, the factor which decides the formation of water here out of hydrogen and oxygen molecule, that is pravritti. Are you getting the point what I am talking about? Was it clear? See, through hydrogen molecule as well as oxygen molecule, there can be formation of hydrogen peroxide also. There can be possibility of manifestation of water also. So what that factor which decides the manifestation of water or hydrogen peroxide? The proportion, the specificity. Right? So that's what pravritti means. Is it clear? I should not talk about dosa now. I will talk about dosa later when they are going to explain it. Okay.
Anubandha is the main water which we are...
You have not specified karyaphala and anubandha. Yes, tell.
Karyaphala is the hydrogen oxide, the chemical, the nature, the name of the water which we have received specifically, and later on the water, the usage of water, what we are doing.
Okay,
That
fine.
will be the anubandha.
Yes, effects or outcome.
And the karya is the
Process, the whole process. Very fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. Give them a big round of applause. We should not be so conjuice. Right? Give them a big round of applause. If you give a very good applause, your brain will activate it well. That's what you are supposed to know. Through that, you are going to stimulate both of your hemispheres well. Otherwise, they are not getting activated properly. So that's why you should give very appropriate applause for everyone. Okay, yes, group 2, yes, sir. Yeah, you can ask whether you get the clarification or not. That is next question. Yes.
Shows 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom as the Karya Yoni. So can we just change that to hydrogen and oxygen atoms only? Then
Presentation my point was just to sensitize them regarding identification. That's all. Organization next level. Going for systematism is next level. You can do that.
I just got down when you explained that pravritti. So I just wanted to get
That's what I said. I have given the example of hydrogen peroxide as well as water now.
But if it is 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, hydrogen peroxide won't come. So
No, that's the reason why I said that specificity of combination of hydrogen and oxygen itself is pravritti. That's what I said. Okay, fine. Your group is ready? Dosa, no? Fine. Tell.
Okay. So, as was rice converting into dosa, so the karana is the cook.
Nice. Karana is cook.
And the karana, we have written the tawa.
Very fine. Go on.
And the karya is dosa.
That's correct. Karayoni in between.
Yeah, the karya yoni is rice.
Yes, fine.
And the karya is dosa. The karya phala is satisfaction of the hunger. And the anubandha is glucose production.
Okay.
And kala is soaking time required.
Everything. So starting from soaking till baking.
It's the batter part.
Okay.
And desha is kitchen.
Fine.
And pravritti is the rice quality.
Very fine. Not only rice quality, that batter what you prepare, that too should have proper consistency, everything. That's what pravritti is.
Okay.
Are you getting the point what we are talking about? Yes. Next. Upaya.
Upaya is association of the cook, rice and the kitchen, as in how is preparing it.
Karana, Karya Yoni. Tawa should be well heated. Okay. Batter should be prepared well. Cook should know how to put that batter. Are you getting that one? So that's what Upaya means. Are you getting the terminologies by these examples? That's what required. Okay. So is it clear? Give them a big round of applause. Okay, thank you.
Gopika will present a scene from Bhagavata. The Krishna is tied when he makes some mischief. He is tied to a domestic type of this bowl.
Okay.
And then Gopikas will laugh at him.
Okay.
So that is the scene, very simple scene.
Okay. So based on that, you are going to explain these terminologies now.
In this, we try to correlate what are there in this.
See, are you getting the examples and how they are getting presented? So now they have taken a situation and they are trying to present that in an intellectual way. Give her a big round of applause with your Hasya Rasa.
Actually, all are getting some kind of Hasya Rasa with a smiles. For that, we should applaud her again. Single-handedly, she. Actually, here we try to just link these Karya-Karana relation in this act. Here, we think that Hasya of Gopikas is the Karya, and the Karana is tying of Krishna to the mortar, the domestic mortar is the Karana. And the for generating the Hasya Rasa, the pravrutti of the Krishna when he was tied to the mortar. That means he made different efforts to get out of that situation. That we identify it as a pravrutti, and because of that pravrutti, people got, Gopikas are teasing him with Hasya, they got a good amount of laugh, that is Karya. And the Karana, as I told you, it is the, because Yashoda has tied him to the, because of his mischievous act. And then Kala and all implied, Kala and Desha are all implied, and anything can be added, it is from audience.
Thank you. See, that is an example. This is assessment or identification of the terminologies, whatever I mentioned, based on a particular reference. This is the difference between the previous two presentations and this presentation. It is too technical, of course, to explain that from the point of Karya Karana, from the point of their speciality requires bhava, rasa, everything. That is a highly technical part wherein I can comment or I can explain that in the forum of musicians as well as dancers. But still what the effort they made, that is really appreciable. So they try to identify everything, even though it is very technical. We will move on to group 4. Thread and weaver.
Hello. Okay. The Karana is the weaver.
Karana is weaver.
Karana is the weaving machine, threads, or that the weaving process.
Okay. Thread comes under Karana? Or it comes under Karya Yoni?
Yeah, it's Karya Yoni, but it can be considered as Karana.
You cannot. That which supports you, that comes under there. Okay, so Karana is one which assists Karana to achieve Karya through Karya Yoni, that's all. Okay?
Karya Yoni is the threads.
Threads, fine.
But sir, Karya Yoni is the research problem, no? As you mentioned.
Okay, you continue.
So, it can be like...
Tantu Samyoga?
No. It can be the need of something to wear. That might be the research problem.
Okay.
So that can also be considered. Okay, the Karya Phala is the clothes, the final outcome, and the Anubandha is the comfort or the protection by that.
Whatever you get from the cloth, okay.
Desha is the weaving place. Kala is the time for.
Okay, it's common for everyone. Okay.
Pravrutti is the Tantu Sanyoga or the thread.
Okay. It has to be organized well. Okay.
Yeah. And Upay is the organization of threads, weaver, machine, and etc.
Yeah, very fine. Thank you. Group 1 is ready. Okay, please. This is challenging. I have given the example from my specialty. Let me see how they present.
Hello. Okay. So our situation was that a disease has been cured. So honestly, it's a bit confusing because you also need to keep it in mind that the patient himself is taking the initiative to be cured and the doctor is curing him as well, or whatever, the medicine, etc. So this is our take. So first is the Karya Yoni. We consider it as a research problem, which is a disease itself.
Very fine. Karya Yoni, it is disease, fine.
The origin of the symptoms as well.
Okay.
The Karana is the doctor.
Fine.
The Karana is the medicine, the injections, the
Very fine.
equipment, etc.
The remaining all you will tell. You caught everything, the basic three you caught well, the remaining will follow the same. Okay.
The karya is the entire treatment procedure,
Yes.
whatever has been.
Okay,
blocked.
fine.
The karyafal is the cure or the disappearance of the symptoms, pain, or the discomfort.
Very fine. Relief from the misery. Fine, next.
The anubandha is the long-term health after the disease has been
Super.
cured.
Next.
The days has been the place of treatment, which
Okay.
can be the hospital, the home, where
Very
it
fine.
has been done.
Nice, nice.
The kal is the duration of the treatment. It can be
Okay.
a surgical, like the
Okay,
class
okay.
taken, etc. The pravritti is the seeking of treatment by the patient, also the desire to
Okay.
cure by the doctor.
Fine.
The upaya is the right action of all the people involved. Here we have listed a few. The patient, taking the medicine on time, healthy lifestyle. The helpers, which includes the nurses, ward boys,
Very fine.
family members, and the doctor himself.
Okay, fine.
The one-
Have you read Caraka Saṃhitā? Because you have mentioned same as it is mentioned in Caraka Saṃhitā. We have this example only for Karana and all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very fine. Same example what we have in Caraka Saṃhitā that has been presented. Very nice. Thank you so much. Groups. Yeah, group. Very fine.
So the activity that was given was, the statement was, a light is lit with the help of wick, oil and fire. So now coming to the Karana. Karana is the agent who is actually going and lighting the
Person who is going to light. Okay, fine.
And then the Karana, the instruments. Here in this case, we have the diya, oil and the wick.
Okay.
Acts as an
Okay.
Karana.
That you can take source of light, that is the matchstick
Okay.
or the lighter.
Yep. When we say fire, it is the source of fire
Okay.
that we are using as the Karana. And the Karya Yoni. Here, the act of lighting the fire involves bringing the fire closer to the wick of the lamp.
Associating everything.
It's the act of lighting.
Are you getting the point? Okay, very fine. I appreciate this. Okay, fine. I'm not telling whether this is right, that is right, this is wrong, that is wrong. As I already said, I'm very much particular about my saying. I always used to tell this. I am responsible for whatever I say. I'm not responsible for whatever you perceive. Because that's very important for me. Yes, sir.
The Karya is the actual act,
Everything. Okay, fine.
that immediately
Next.
follows the Karya Yoni, which is
Karya. Okay.
And the Karya Phala is the illumination
What we get.
the whole room, wherever it is
Fine.
placed. Anubandha is where we had a bit of difficulty because the end result,
Anubandha, later effect.
later effect. So,
Through that you do so many other day-to-day activities. Whatever you do with the help of that light, whatever the benefits you get out of light.
the major benefit we discussed and arrived at was being able to see with much more.
Fine. That's what I'm telling. That's what I'm telling.
What is
Okay, fine.
now,
Also like a decrease in the amount of oil the inside of the decreasing.
Okay. Okay, fine.
and Kala here in this example, we understood it as the time till the fuel, the oil is supplied. That is the Kala.
Throughout the process. The process requires time, right? So that itself is Kala.
Desha here is the Nivatastha Pradesha is what
I appreciate the term what they used. Very fine. Next.
Sufficient amount of oxygen.
Okay. Fine. Nimata is not talking about absence of air. It is talking about appropriate presence of. That's why I'm telling, knowing the Samskrita is very important from the point of technicality, not from the point of language. Language is primitive part of studying Samskrita, but beyond that, Samskrita is something unique, something special. Being Indians, we should be proud enough and we should have a bit of desire to study and know Sanskrit.
Then the prabhuti is the oil dipped wick which I have taken.
Okay.
And the minimum amount of temperature required.
Yeah, fine.
Ignition temperature.
Yes.
Then upaya is the all the above
Potency.
points
Fine.
has to become simultaneously organized.
Okay. Thank you. Give them a big round of applause for illuminating all of us with the light of knowledge. Thank you so much. I think all of you get activated. All of you had recreation through the activities, right? So let your level of consciousness, concentration, inspiration get inspired more so that we can continue further for next session.
Continuing our exploration of ancient research methodology, now we move on to the part 2 of the orientation of Caraka Saṃhitā, which will be again presented by Professor Shreevatsa sir.
Welcome back. I think all of you are comfortable. We can continue further. Is it okay? Yes. All of you are ready? Yes, sir. Very fine. As I already said, we are going to talk about few components of Caraka Saṃhitā which can be incorporated generally in Indian research methodology. Under that heading, till now we discussed about the concept of Karana, Karana and all. So all of you are sensitized about those terminologies. We will move on to the next step of understanding the same in Caraka Saṃhitā. It's a bit technical. But I'll try to communicate the concept for you people to the highest extent because it's very important from the angle of different orientations of research. So previously, in general, how the research culture should be inculcated, that we come to know about. We have different facets in research, as I already said. Exclusively, we focus on Shastra, we focus on Tattva, we focus on Prayoga. That is, this is one-to-one association. Commonly we do. But there are some situations wherein we are supposed to do permutations as well as combinations. Shastra, Shastra. Shastra, Prayoga. Shastra, Tattva. Tattva, Tattva. Tattva, Prayoga, like that. I mean to say, I will give simple examples, then you will be able to understand this. Like comparing between two edibles. Comparing between two situations, comparing between two medications, comparing between two management strategies. Okay, so there might be linear progress, there might be vertical progress, there are many possibilities. So in such situation, how the research thought should be from the point of Indian research methodology. For that we have the concept called as Paradigunas. So I'm putting those terminologies as they are just to communicate the terminologies for you people rather than putting the translation of those terminologies. That's why I use the terms like Karana, Karana as they are rather than using the terms as cause, effect, source of action and so on. Okay. So that is very essential from the point of Indian research. So we should make use of terminologies as they are, because when we are using Adhikarana terminology, when we are using the terminology Uddesha, Prayojana, they are explaining whatever the translations we are providing. Beyond that, they are explaining some other concepts. So that's why if you are familiar with those terminologies, then it will be easy for you to learn the concepts in better way. That's why I'm using those terminologies as they are. So here there are 10 important components which are very essential when we are considering or we are supposed to have different components or different processes in the research. The 10 components are Para, Apara, Yukti, Sankhya, Samyoga, Vibhaga, Prathakva, Parimana, Abhyasa. So first let us try to know them a bit in brief because we have to cover some more topics. That's why I'm just giving the information about this one. So Para as well as Apara, This is the methodology which is used specifically whenever we do different comparative studies. So if you are thinking of doing comparison, so you should know these two methods which are very important. When comparison is not rejected in Indian research methodology, but the purpose of doing comparison has to be known. I want to compare Shakespeare with Kalidasa. Why? At what level? At what phase? What purpose? So if you don't know that, they have given the criteria, how the comparison has to be done, why the comparison has to be done. The purpose should be known, which is very important one. So this para as well as apara, they are talking about the comparison. So at what level, which is appropriate, at what level, which is inappropriate. So that's what para as well as apara means. These two are the methods, these two are the criteria based on which you can do the comparison. So you have to do the comparison. So this is the guideline. So comparison is not a random phenomenon in the research. This point you have to keep in your mind. Whatever might be the specialty. For example, you might be the student of political science. So I want to compare the political status of India with political status of France. Why? So for this, you should work on my research problem, what I already told. Okay, so for comparison, why, what, when, where, which, how, you get the guideline here. So para as well as apara are the guidelines to move further in different comparative studies irrespective of specialities. So you want to compare the Mahakavya of Bharavi as well as Kalidasa. You have right to work on that. But you should know the criteria, you should know the guidelines, you should follow that, which is very important one, that you get under para as well as apara. Yes, madam.
This has got nothing to do with Paravidya, Aparavidya.
Actually, no. But you can relate. That's how Indian science has been built. You have the freedom to compare this para and apara with Paravidya and Aparavidya, and you have guidelines for that also. That is the beauty of Indian culture. We are very flexible. We are very open. I am very proud to say that I am Bharatiya because I am very flexible. Indian culture has provided me that flexibility. That's why I am very proud about the same. So we provide room for everyone. Come. For us, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, whatever already mentioned. So we accept everyone. We embrace everyone. Okay. So para as well as apara, these two provide guidelines for comparative research. Moving on to third, the third one is yukti. So it is the lifeline of all research. So here in this guideline, we get the methodology to proceed further in research. Appropriate planning, which has to be done, which is very essential. That's what yukti means. Next we have Saṃhitā. Saṃhitā syat ganitam. This is what Caraka Saṃhitā speaks about. Whatever you are talking about, that has to be presented even in numericals. Then only it has value. It is having value. That's applicable everywhere. And if you are talking only in terms of quality, that's not sufficient. You should be able to convert that quality into quantity. So they have provided guidelines for that. That's what a Saṃhitā means. So this is what we are supposed to know. So both process of quantification and method of providing the qualities that has been provided, that has been explained in Caraka Saṃhitā. That's what a Saṃhitā means. Hum kuch bol rahe, I'm talking something, but that has to be quantified, which is very important. How to quantify it? We have the guidelines. We have to follow that. So that has been provided under the heading of Saṃhitā. So this is again one more value to be inculcated in Indian research methodology. Moving on to the next four components, which are very important. One is Samyoga, second one is Vibhaga, third one is Prathitva, fourth one is Samskara. Whenever the process of research has to be done from the point of Indian research methodology, always there should be synthesis and always there must be lysis. We have to combine them. we should divide them. The purpose of doing combination as well as division is to communicate the knowledge in better way. When we do that, when we have voluminous information, when we have voluminous outcome, when we have voluminous components, that has to be segregated well, which is very important one. At the same time, they should get combined also very appropriately. That's what a samyoga as well as vibhaga means. At the same time, we should know what modification has to be done at any level. Right? So that's what we call it as a samskara. For example, you have a big heap of fruits. Okay? So that heap consists of various forms of fruits. It's having banana, it's having mango, it's having apple, it's having oranges, whatever it might be. So it's heap of fruits. Okay? So if you keep as it is, it's of no use. You should make it usable. What to do? First, that has to be segregated, which is very important one. Right? You categorize them. So you collect apple on one side, you keep oranges another side. So like that, you take some box or you take some vessels and you first segregate the fruits. Then you think of which is perishable quickly, which takes a bit of time. So accordingly, we should modify the way of preservation, right? So the one which gets perished quickly will be utilized quickly. Instantly or immediately we are going to use it. So the one which can retain, that will be stored. That's what commonly we do. Okay. So here comes the samskara. So that which perishes quickly, either we take some precaution to prevent that perishing phenomena or we utilize it. Okay. So we are following different preservation techniques, different preservation methodologies to preserve them. So that's what samskara means. Even though there are many apples, each apple is having its own distinct feature, its own existence. That's what we call it as prathaktva. Okay, so I'll come back to one more example, then you will understand it. Okay, I will give one situation from medical field, which you can understand easily. Okay, I have patients who are suffering from diabetes, because you people are aware of the disease. That's why I'm giving that example. I have the patients who are suffering from hypertension. Okay. So all of them, they fall under one category, the patient. Right? So I segregate them depending on the disease's specificity. So I segregate them. That is vibhaga. Okay. In each patient, manifestation of the disease is entirely different and unique. In one patient, hypertension might be because of defect in heart. I'm making the subject simple, that's all. Okay. In one patient, okay, exactly. It might be because of a stress. In one patient, it might be because of excessive accumulation of cholesterol in the body. See, the disease is common, but again it is showing its independency. Are you getting the point? This is what prathaktva. This is what prathaktva. Are you getting the difference between samyoga, vibhaga, prathaktva now? Okay? Yeah. So, samskara, the whole phenomena. So, the healthy status is getting converted into the disease state. A phenomena is going on in which the normalcy is getting converted into abnormal state. The whole phenomena we call it as a samskara. Okay. I will give one more example, then you will understand. Okay. You collected the literature of Shakespeare. I'll go back to that example only. You collected the literature of Kalidasa. Okay. So if you keep the literature in a very haphazard way, is it possible to communicate anything? No. You collected all the information, you collected all the literature, that is a samyoga. Okay. So later that is going to be segregated well. That is vibhaga. You are talking about, or you are presenting distinctness of both. That is prathakva. You are synthesizing both. You are organizing everything. Similarities, dissimilarities, pros and cons, whatever you do. That is a samskara. Are you getting the point what I am talking about? Are you perceiving? Is it okay? Why? Where? Intervention. Usually this presentation is for medical field. That's why I kept that as it is, because for me that is very important. That's why I kept as it is, and I communicated the examples with the different aspects. Okay. So if I am talking to Ayurveda doctors, then I should talk in a different way. Yes. That's why I kept it as it is. Even though I knew that I am not going to touch that part, purposefully I kept it. Is it clear? Intervention way. You expect me to talk about that? Okay, let me try. Let me take a try for you, because everything is new for you. Still I will try. For example, you have taken a medicine X in the management of disease Y. Okay, we take the same example, hypertension, which is, or diabetes, which all of you know. We have taken one medicine, whatever, let us consider it as Guduchi, Tinospora cardifolia, because all of you are familiar with Giloy. Okay, so I'm making the subject a bit simple so that it is easy for you to understand. So I want to know the effect of Giloy in the condition of diabetes mellitus. Okay. For that, I have to choose the patients. Right? I cannot give Guduchi or Giloy in all the patients of diabetes mellitus, because it's very specific. Okay. So in Samyoga, what happens? All the patients who are labeled as diabetes, they come together. But I cannot start, because this particular medicine is having its own specifications which I am supposed to know. So from that group, I extract a particular set to whom I can provide the medicine.
From the population you are collecting the sample.
Yes. That is vibhaga. That's what we do. But still, this is where that's why I said, I'm talking about a research culture, a research value. I'm not comparing. It's not comparison, as I already said. I'm not telling that is superior, this is superior, that is inferior, this is inferior. My purpose is to respect Bharata. I already told you. Yesterday also, today also I'm telling. After Madam used the term Bharata, I decided not to use India. Being English professor, she said that she is using the term Bharata. Then why, being a person of Bharatiya Vidya, I should use the term Bharata. That's all, nothing more than that. It is not like to becoming too emotional and all, nothing. Okay, it is respect. That's all. See, we should respect, which is very important. When a person who is not respecting his nation is good for nothing, according to me. I am talking from the point of nation. That's all. Yes, coming back to your topic, sir. Again, I have extracted 5, 10, 15 as per the requirement. In each patient, okay, the manifestation, the course, the presentation of the disease is unique. Okay, this Guduchi acts on all patients, no doubt in that, but it targets different components. That's what Ayurveda speaks about. Every individual is unique. Every individual is a specific. That's how we have to look into the condition. So there comes again Prathaktva, application of the same. Okay. So the Aushadha is working in a distinct way in that particular human. Human is not conglomeration of system. He is having different components. We consider Sharira, Indriya, Sattva and Atma as the components of human. Okay, so this medicine targets different components, different stages of disease in a different way, depending on its capability. So there comes a samskara. Outside, the medicine cannot be given in its raw form. We have different processing techniques. There also samskara comes, and we give that to the patient. Inside, it has got different interactions with different components of the human. There also samskara comes.
By the time we come to the Prithaktva stage, that means your intervention group is already ready.
100%.
So when the intervention group is already ready, then what is the use of samskara again? Because the drug which you will give at the point of Prithaktva is X only for everyone.
Fine.
So now what is the use of samskara?
That's why I mentioned Karya Karana. In that we discussed about Karya Phala, Anubandha, Desha, Kala, Pravritti and all. Even though we define the situation, even though we create homogeneous group, we are not the directors. You cannot say that I am giving this drug should act as I wish. You cannot direct the drug. You cannot direct the drug. It is the individual who is consuming, who is receiving. He or she is going to decide it. We call it as Prakriti. That's why outcome-based studies we focus much in Indian research. Inside what happens, this is beyond your subject, but still I have to tell. In Ayurveda, we have different way of approach towards management. Usually in contemporary medical science, what's going on, everything is going to be defined. Okay, but we cannot define the situation. It's not in our hands, because once you are going to manipulate the situation, or once you are going to fix the situation is always not stagnant. It modifies. It undergoes changes throughout. That's why what we focus on, we choose particular components, we administer it, at the end we evaluate the outcome. This is what commonly we do. So for your understanding, I just made it simple, that's all. But
I understood. But the emphasis of samskara, that I didn't understand.
now that is what I tried to communicate in a simple way. But samskara is something beyond that. Understanding which requires many fundamental concepts of Ayurveda. As I already mentioned, the concept of Prakriti, concept of Aushadha, there are many components. Of course, I can translate that for you, but I have to complete some other points. We will discuss about that later, no problem. Yes, sir. 100% being...
understand about intervention.
Yes, sir.
We are taking it as an intervention samskara, and already you have brought him to the medical science. See, when you go to a doctor, based on your symptoms and history of the disease, he prescribes some medication. Okay, but as already Professor Shreevatsa has explained you, no individual is unique. So the response will not be similar for everybody. So you may get a different kind of problem during the treatment itself. You may get some, suppose to give you a simple example, you may get constipation type of thing. So you will again have to go to the physician and give him the feedback, and he will again interfere or intervene. So this all comes under the process of samskara.
I understood. Constitution is different. So, but the question here is, when there is this minute changes according to samskara, I can relate it with change for each and every person, according to his svabhava, prakriti, or whatever it is. So when that is happening, the common thread which is running through all the subjects here, that will be missing. the commonality of diabetes.
Yeah, I understood. That's why I said, no, that's why we have some other checklist, like some other components later to evaluate the same. So at that time, that's why I mentioned samskara from the point of outcome.
Okay.
Hope you got it now. Yes. Yes. Okay. So next one is, yes, sir. Fine.
Samskara actually. Samskaro gunantara vidhan. So, if you want to change the property of a substance in Draviguna point of view, then that samskara is used. For example, if you are taking curd is having some properties. Just by cherry, you will getting the butter. So that is having different properties. If you are taking rice, if you are adding heat, it will become paler. So that will be light, this will be heavy. So for a particular group of patients, okay, so you know the prakriti, you know the something. So the same drug with a little modification, if you want to change and use, then it is called samskara.
Yes, sir, I got the point. In this particular trial, all the 10 people to whom this drug is
10 people already divided according to Pradatva, okay? All the 10 people, the same drug is also given, but with a little bit samskara. That's why, once again, sir will tell you, if you go through all the properties, all the paradipuna, then you will understand. One more thing, these concepts, Tantra Yuktis or even paradipuna and all these things, if you are comparing it with to modern tools, okay, so here there will be statistical analysis you are thinking, but here they will go for absolute. There should not be any error, okay. If absolute zero error, then all these points will come. Our research carries for zero error, not for 75% or 50%, or you are taking the p-value. Okay, are you understanding? So whatever the text, wherever we are going, wherever Indian research is going, they are concentrating for zero error. So even that Prakriti person, the error should not be there. Even this person should not get the error, though the group is the same, though the treatment is the same. So we want, if you want the zero error, you have to divide, you have to add the drug, something, and you should make the patient free. In Ayurvedic point of view, even the drug point of view. Whatever science, if you are taking Indian science, then they will concentrate on zero error. With that mind, you have to think the statistical analysis. Okay?
Right now, even a modern in Ayurvedic research as well, the same technique is being followed.
If it is followed, then Ayurveda will be in certain types.
No, as you are telling, I rightly accept this. What's happening? We are not only in everywhere it's going on. We are focusing much on fraction. As you said, we choose some drugs and we go for comparative studies. Whatever we do, I do accept it. But we are coming up with so many Ayurveda models also. It is not like we are just following contemporary research methodology. It's not like that. I do accept it because blindly we are following it without considering the unique principles of Ayurveda. At many levels that is going on. But we are coming up with exclusively Ayurveda models for everything. Even for survey, we have our own tools nowadays. Even for clinical studies, we have specific methodologies. We follow that. Even WHO also proposes very nice models for contemporary sciences, complementary sciences, alternative as well as complementary sciences. We call it as black box design and all. We tried with those methodologies and we are behind that. And individual case studies are also gaining much of importance, and research methodology from the point of Ayurveda is coming up with some new thinking, new in the sense from the base of concepts only we are coming up with. But whatever the point you are raising, that is very correct one. We are behind fraction, especially from the point of medicine is concerned. Whatever the efficacy we are talking about, rather than using the drug as prescribed in the texts of Ayurveda, many people they go behind extract. So we have so many such variations. Nowadays we shifted from that to this. Because if a drug is used in the form of extract, then we won't get the classical effect whatever mentioned in the text. If the drug is mentioned in the form of juice, it has to be used in the form of juice. If the drug is mentioned in the form of decoction, then it has to be used in the form of decoction. So like that only we are incorporating, and we are working significantly on that one. Nowadays that trend has been changed. But you noticed what's going on in Ayurveda. Really, I have to appreciate you. That is shifted even for experimental studies and all, for different animal models or different human models also. We have changed this methodology nowadays. That's not existing. We won't go for extract. It might be water soluble or alcohol soluble. Previously, people, they were talking about the drug efficacy based on extract, but nowadays the trend has been changed in our field. So we talk about drug as a whole, we talk about patient as a whole, we talk about management as a whole. Management also fractioned in between, because Ayurveda management speaks in a different way. It is a holistic approach which starts from avoiding the causative factors till rectifying the lifestyle. So in research, they were restricting only to compare two drugs. It was like that. But nowadays, the trend has been changed. Whole system management has been incorporated, and we are working in that angle very significantly. Of course, we have beautiful guidelines in Charaka Saṃhitā. We come up with models and modules based on Charaka Saṃhitā only. It might be for assessment, it might be for diagnosis, it might be for management, for everything. But this is not the platform, no. That's why I just selected few components which I can share with you people. Okay. So next, moving on to the next one, Parimana. It is talking about the precision in relation with the measurement. Each and everything has to be measured throughout. So the guidelines for measurement we have under this component. Of course, the last component is very important one. Whatever is going to be done, that has to be repeated. Abhyasa has been mentioned. So there must be repetition. Repetition is the integral component of every research. So this point has been highlighted here very beautifully. I stop this component here only because I have to touch a bit about two more components, which is very important one. We have one more concept called as Vadamarga in Charaka Saṃhitā, which is having a bit of a resemblance with the Nyaya Vaisheshika description of Padartha. I'm not going to explain what Vadamarga is and all. I think I have given you handout in soft form. So you just go through that. What this Vadamarga is, I just present that one. It's verbal as well as textual documentation. So if you are presenting something verbally, so you should know how to present it. If you are presenting something in the form of documentation, then also you should know a method. Okay. So that has been mentioned under the heading of Vadamarga. It is very beautiful. See, in Charaka Saṃhitā, we have a beautiful concept called as Pariksha. Since 3-4 days, you are familiar with so many terminologies. So before choosing any speciality, it's only present in Bharata, okay, nowhere else. So a student is having freedom to choose the teacher. Do you have this freedom anywhere? Acharya Pariksha is there in Charaka Saṃhitā. So first you have to examine Acharya, then you have to move further. This is first one. Of course, Acharya too is having a bit of freedom. Shishya Pariksha is the next one. Shishya has to be examined. Shishya should possess certain qualities. Acharya should possess certain qualities. The third one, which is very important one, Shastra Pariksha. Even though we say Shastra is one, which is the ultimate one, final one, proved one, which is not having any negativity like that, like this and all, but still, you have freedom to choose Shastra. अयो मैंने चूज कर लिया, इसमें कैसे मैं जाऊं? यू हैव मेरे पेरेंट्स फोर्स किया, इसलिए मैं इसमें आया. मैंने सुना कि इसमें बहुत अच्छा स्कोप है, इसलिए इसमें आया. ऐसे नहीं है. So they have given freedom for you. There are methods to examine Shastra. So I'm going to talk about that at the end under the heading of Tantra Guna. Okay. So they have given freedom for you to examine these three. You don't have this freedom anywhere. Only in India we have so much of freedom. So we can criticize everyone, we can tease everyone, that much of freedom we have. We are blessed enough. If we go somewhere else, if we like criticize gods, it's not possible to exist, okay? But in India, if you scold Rama also, nothing will happen. If you scold Krishna also, nothing will happen. No problem. We treat Rama, Krishna and all as our friends, as our enemy, like that. Okay, yes, come back. We are in a very pathetic condition. One day will come, then foreigners will teach us what Ayurveda is, what Indian sciences are. It's very pathetic condition. Manuscripts of India have been stolen. I don't want to use that term stolen. They have been taken, they have been preserved, they have been maintained well in so many other countries. If you want to know Indian, 1 million, I'm just talking about Ayurveda point of view, 1 million medical manuscripts are available. I'm talking about medical manuscripts, okay? I don't know about philosophy. I don't know about Tarka. I don't know about Natya. I don't know about Saṃhitā. The manuscripts number, but I know about Ayurveda manuscripts. You just imagine how much we have, how much we can do. Okay, so Vadamarga is once, come back to the subject. Vadamarga is one more component which has to be understood very properly. So this guides us. You just go through that. I have mentioned what is Vada. I have mentioned the methods and the terminologies. So go through that. It guides you many things. How you are supposed to have interaction with everyone. You are supposed to communicate your information with others. How it has to be communicated. How it has to be documented. So we have a very systematic, authenticated, beautiful methodology under the heading of concept of Vadamarga. With this, I'll go back. I will move on to the next component, which is very important one. That is concept of Anukta. Again, this is the unique concept which has been explained. I drop all my PPTs here. You can get all the PPTs, okay? So it's open for everyone. You can have this, which is very important one. What this Anukta is, let me talk in brief, which is very important one. Some informations we have, we come across with some new information. How to deal with that? From the point of Ayurveda, if you come across with a new drug, how to understand that? If you come across with a new disease, how to understand that? If you come across with new food item, how to understand that? If you come across with new lifestyle which is claimed as very good one, whether to incorporate that or how to understand that, how to incorporate that. If you come across with new causative factor, how to understand that? And how to plan management for that. Everything has been explained under the concept of Anukta. For that, they have given guideline. For example, if you come across with a new drug, how to identify that? They have given the guidelines. First, look into its appearance. Then, go for further evaluation of the drug, Nama, Rupa, Guna, that has been mentioned. Then, administer it. You come across with various effects, instant effects, later effects, document it. Inside, what happens to assess that? They have given the parameters. Outside, what to do? That also they have mentioned. Similarly, if a new disease has been evolved, new disease has been manifested, how to understand that? They have given the guidelines. It's not like they mentioned something that is eternal. This is the futuristic orientation, what we get only in Indian sciences. They are not opposing any progress. They are not opposing any technology. This is what we are supposed to sense. Know where we get this guideline. Anything new you want to learn, it might be from the point of Saṃhitā. If you want to design your own raga, you have freedom. You can design, but they have given the guidelines. Anukta raga. So for that you have to follow certain rules and you can design. So it is having some rules, we call it as Nyasaswara, Jivaswara. We have many concepts in Saṃhitā. This is not the forum to talk about Saṃhitā. Similarly for yoga also, they have given the freedom. You can design your own asana. But they have given certain principles based on which you have to design. I want to say I will lift hand and I call it as Urdhva Hastasana. Not like that. So you should know everything. There is a method which you are supposed to follow. So this is what we call it as Anukta. We are supposed to sense it here. This is the unique orientation nowhere we get. Anything new, whatever you want to search, you can search, you get the guidance. That's why I said Indian research always starts with literature, whereas other researches end with literature. Process of documentation is the last stage in every research. But for Indian research, literature is life. Try to understand this. Rather than literature, I should use the term Shastra. Okay, whatever it might be. So, we have the treasure which we are supposed to sense. So, this is the Indian sense, Indian orientation regarding research. Just I wanted to tell this point for you. With this, I will enter my last component. Sir, I will complete within 1 o'clock. But I was supposed to complete by 12:30, na? No. They have, no, because Ayurveda speaks about food very specifically that. I should tell this because when I'm talking about this one, not only what happens, a teacher is having the tendency to talk more than a student because it's a question of existence. I should show that I know better than you. Nowadays, we get the patients suffering from Google disease. We won't get any diseases nowadays. The very problematic, burning problem for us is Google disease. Okay? So, patients come to us. Again, we have a challenge. We should show that we know better than patient. Otherwise, existential problem. Situation. Unfortunately, I am a teacher, I am a doctor. So, you have to understand how much, not frustration, I don't have frustration and all, never. Okay. Whether the people who are sitting are in need of or not, it's going on. Sir is telling I'll give 5 more minutes, but I should not use it because I should respect Jnanavati Parishad. That's what Charaka Saṃhitā speaks about. Parishad is of 2 types. Mainly, one we call it as Jnanavati Parishad assembly. One is Jnanavati Parishad. Another one is Mudha Parishad. Okay. So organizers are kind enough. They made a Mudha to stand in front of Jnanavati Parishad. So you have to bear with me. Okay. So last component I wanted to share with you. It is not the last component actually. It's one more component of Charaka Saṃhitā which I wanted to share with you people. That is Tantra Guna and Tantra Dosha. I'll explain each component because that's very important one. So here, this Tantra Yukti is all of you are familiar with. That's why I'm not touching that one. I'll directly go to Tantra Guna one by one. Okay. There are unique qualities which are mentioned under the heading of Shastra Pariksha in Charaka Saṃhitā. They are like this. I want to read Samskrita terminologies as they are. The first one is Sumahat Yashasvi Dhira Purusha Sevitam. So how a tantra, a shastra should be, how the literature should be, or how your presentation should be, or how your documentation should be, or how the information should be. So that has been explained under these qualities. So whatever you are telling, that should be followed by the scholarly people, which is very important one. Information has to be presented in such a way that it should be acceptable to the intellectual faculty. That's what Sumahat Yashasvi Dhira Purusha Sevitam. It's not only accepted, Sevitam. It has to be used for application. It has to be applied by them, not only by you. I follow Dinacharya, or I follow certain healthy regimen. That itself is not sufficient. I should make other to follow that. That is the first quality. Quality number 2, Artha Bahulam. So when we are presenting something, when we are talking about something, so it should be enriched. That's why I said Samskrita is the one which is having that potency. Okay. I will give one more example at this junction, which is very important one. For example, if I using the term Kamala, right? All of you know this term in every language, right? Okay. So what is Kamala? Very fine. Thank you so much. So Kamala is lotus. Okay. Do you think it's the only meaning for Kamala? Any from Sanskrit, can you explain this based on Nirukta or Nirukti? Nirukti is very important from the point of Samskrita. Here comes the technicality of language. So anyone can tell what is Kamala? Can you tell the Nirukti of Kamala? Kena? Very fine. Malena? Phalati is okay. So that which comes out of a slush, that which grows, that is Kamala. Okay. So this we call it as Adi Bhautikartha. Every term in Sanskrit carries three meanings. One we call it as Adhyatmartha. Second one we call it as Adhibhautartha, Adhibhutartha. Third one we call it as Adhidaivartha. Okay. So in materialistic level, we call it as the one which has grown from a slush. Okay. So that is Adhi Bhutartha of the term. Adhyatmartha has to be known. The word Kamala is the indicator of knowledge. So that is, Kamala is indicating the jnana also. So that is Adhyatmartha of the term Kamala. Okay. Kamala is a component, is a symbol which is present in relation with many gods and goddesses, as you all know. It's symbolizing other thing. We call it as Adhidaivartha. I told this for only one word. In the same way, for every word, we have three meanings. Not only three, beyond that. From the point of Ayurveda, if I want to tell, one example I'll tell. If I am using the word Chinnaruha, it is a synonym. I will come to the same example, okay? Giloy. Botanically, Giloy is called as Tinospora cardifolia. Okay? So it is having synonym Chinnaruha. Okay? Chinnaruha is talking about a specific characteristic of Giloy, that is Guruji. That is Tinospora cardifolia. From the point of botany, all are Tinospora cardifolia, whether it is tender, whether it is completely grown up, whether it is matured, whatever it might be, everything is Tinospora cardifolia. From the point of Ayurveda, it is not like so. If the word Chinnaruha is a synonym for Giloy, so if it is mentioned somewhere, that is talking about particular characteristic of Giloy, that is Guruji. So if Tinospora cardifolia is capable enough to grow independently if it is cut and cultivated, then only we call it as Chinnaruha. If it is tender, then we won't call it as Chinnaruha. Are you getting the difference? Is it clear for you? So using terminologies in ancient literature, in ancient research methodologies, very particular, which we are supposed to know. I am talking about Artha Bahulam, that's why I am giving this example. It is possible only in Samskrita Bhasha, not in other languages. Are you realizing what Samskrita is? Samskrita is beyond language for we Bharatiyas. This is we are supposed to realize, which is very important one. Okay. So we can achieve this Artha Bahulatva through that particular technique, Samskrita. Okay. So the third one is Aptajana Pujitam. So it has to be accepted by everyone, which is very important one. Previously it has to be applicable. Sumahat Yashasvi Dhira Purusha Sevitam. That should be in practice. And it should be in a respectable state. We call it as Aptajana Pujitam. Trividha Shishya Buddhihitam. I know everything. That's why I present my topic or my subject in such a way that no one should understand. That is not our culture. We should respect everyone. We come across with intellectual capabilities at different levels. So whatever I'm telling, that should communicate to everyone. I should respect Alpamati, I should respect Bahumati. That's my responsibility. So that's what a Trividha Shishya Buddhi Hitam means. Apagata Punarupta Dosham. So there should not be repetition. Contextually, repetition is accepted. But if the situation is not in need of repetition, then you should not do that. So there should not be repetition. Then Arsham. The subject should have sanctity, which is very important one. So whatever you are telling, you should tell in such a way that it should be very it should have that sanctity, which is very important one. Supranita Sutra Bhashya Sangraha Kramam. So you should provide the information. I could do that activity, but the time is not there, so I am not doing. Information should be precise. Wherever the description is required, there you are supposed to provide that. Wherever you want to have some other references, contextual references, that also you are supposed to do. Abstract form, wherever seems to be suitable, that has to be followed. Wherever you feel that narration has to be given to the particular subject, that also should be followed. Wherever you feel to provide many more references, that also you are supposed to provide. That's what Supranita Sutra Bhashya Sangraha Kramam means. Swadharam. So whatever we are talking about, that should have base, that should have proper references, which is very important one. Anavapatita Shabdam. So we are not supposed to use irrelevant terminologies and the terminologies which are not suitable to be communicated. Akashta Shabdam. As I already said, we should make use of simple terms, which is very important one, so that the subject can be communicated well. Pushkalabhidhanam. So it should be enriched. It's not like a very dry and all. So it should be enriched well. Sequence we are supposed to follow. That's what Kramagatartham means. Artha Tattva Vinishchaya Pradhanam. So this is only possible again in Samskrita. Whatever the term we are using, that is possessing Nirukta, that is the strength of Samskrita. So Nirukta should be known well, Nirukta should be utilized well. And Sangatartham, it should have purpose, it should have benefit. That's what Sangatartham means. Asankula Prakaranam, only the relevant information has to be collected. The information which is not relevant should not be there. Ashu Prabodhakam, you are telling something that should be communicated quickly. That's also very important one. Lakshanavat, it should possess certain characteristics and it should possess certain examples. That's what Udaharanavat means. So these are all Tantra Gunas in brief. I'm not going to explain this. Tantra Dosha also I have to tell in brief. Aprasiddha Shabda means the words which are uncommon. These are all the Tantra Doshas which should not be there. Okay. Dupranitam, as I already said, if it is not communicating properly. Asangatartham, Sangatartham, which is Asangatartham, which is irrelevant. Asukharohi, as it is mentioned. So if the reader is not able to pronounce it well, then it's of no use. So that should not be used. And Viruddham, contradictory terminologies or contradictory concepts should not be there. Too much of explanation, Ativistratam, should not be there. Too much of concising the subject, that's also not accepted. Ati Sankshepam. Aprayojanam. So prayojana itself is the core of everything. It is mentioned everywhere. So anything which is not having prayojana, that should not be used. Bhinna Kramam. So previously it has been mentioned orderly information to be provided. So it is talking about opposite to that. Confusional one, Sandigdham should not be there. Repetition, Punaruktam should not be there. Nipramanam, so it should have evidences. So the one which is not having pramana, that's not accepted. Asamaptartham, we have to complete whatever we are talking about. So if it is not completed well, that's not accepted. Aparthakam, so the one which is communicating in a wrong way is also not accepted. Vyahatam, the one here, Vyahata is talking about the usage of terminologies which are too harsh rather than contradiction, which are too harsh. It's like the one which is injurious. That's Vyahata means. Okay. So these terminologies should not be there. So now we will go back to our first activity. I asked you to write yes. What do you expect from? मैंने कहा था ना, you protect the chit what you have written. I told you have to protect it till end. Right? So all of you have the chit? Fine. So on the back side, now you have to write suggestion for me. I'll give one more minute. So I'm in time. Now it's 1. So please write down the suggestion and hand over that chit to any volunteer, please. Please collect that chit if you don't mind. Otherwise, I only will collect. So please write the suggestion for me. Yes, you write anything. You are having the freedom to write anything. You have doubt regarding my talk? We will come to that later. You come finish that, then we will take up questions. If you want, you can have your email ID as per the organizers I'm telling. dr.shreevatsa dr.shreevatsa. I should not pronounce H, no. H I have to pronounce, right? VHSA @rediffmail.com. SHREEVATSA Shreevatsa @rediffmail.com. Even though Rediff is outdated, it is updated for me always. @rediffmail.com. Yes, madam. Yes, please, ma'am.
You spoke of intervention studies and studies of patients.
Yes.
Now, in Indian research methodology, see, our meaning, the Western systems that we've been following have this control experimental group, and everybody with an education background says, without it, nothing can happen. I'll just finish.
Yeah. I'm listening to you.
Do we have anything like that in IRM? 1. So, I cannot see how Ayurveda will do control and placebo, which I think is unethical.
100%.
Okay. But, so, I don't like that controlled experimental group where humanities and teaching are concerned. Okay. But you also said, that is one question. The other is, you said, everything has to be quantified, even if you work in qualitative paradigm. So if you are doing a single case study, how would you convert that into numbers?
Yes.
These are my 2 questions.
Very nice. Thank you, madam. That is the core point. Actually, I thought of touching it, but it's a bit higher level, no? That's why I have not touched. Nowadays, RCTs, what you were talking about, that is control. RCTs are not getting accepted everywhere. Even it has become outdated even in contemporary researchers also. Previously, they were focusing that one. Nowadays, the trend has been changed. Everyone is talking about individualized management, what I am talking about. So nowadays, we do present in the same way. That is focused much significantly, and we are talking from the point of Prakriti, we are talking from the point of Sara, whatever the parameters we have, based on that only we do that. Second thing, we are having different methods of quantifying different components, even though they are qualitative. Okay, the qualitative components can also, for example, when I worked regarding Manasa Prakriti long back, my study was on Manasa Prakriti when I was doing my PG, that is during 97 to 2000. So during that period, even statistics was also not talking much about these specifications, different components for qualitative assessment, quantitative assessment and all. We were clubbing both and we were moving further, just focusing on simple statistical method. And later when I completed, and recently when there was need to quantify the components of Manasa Prakriti. We had many challenges. At that time, what I focused on was, first, there must be literature informations. Literature is having very systematic method, systematic approach towards quantification of everything. We get the terminologies like Tara, Tama and all. Taratamya, yeah, it is like that only. One level, this is your superlative degree, comparative degree, same like that, okay? We have different terminologies. But unfortunately, what's happening in Ayurveda research also, rather than doing literature survey properly, collecting Shastra Sangraha, people, they are behind Prayoga. That's why distraction is taking place in Indian research methodology. Okay, so later what I did, I realized whatever the terminologies we have in each Manasa Prakriti, every terminology has been, even though seem to be qualitative, has been quantitatively mentioned in the text itself. A huge range we get from 0 to 10 like that. For example, Sukham is there. Even though we say that it is a qualitative component, but we get the information in the Shastra to quantify it. That's what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, we translate Sukha into comfort, happiness, something like that, and we try to quantify it. There is no requirement to do that. Sukha has been defined. That's why I said how to consider, accept Samskrita. It should be an integral component for every education system. Then only our way of looking into each subject differs. This is point number 2. And as I already said, nowadays, individual based management, even in Ayurveda, it is getting a scope. And we are having many simple calculative methods through which we can justify the efficacy. We do that. And as I already said, even in evaluation of Manasa Prakriti, I used only percentage method, nothing more than that. Only percentage, nothing more than that, through which I could justify everything properly. I think I answered.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Can we have a huge round of applause?
Thank you everyone for adding a very memorable day in my life. So I don't know whether I could communicate what I intended to communicate for you people. At some point of time, at some level, I might have injured your ideas or your idealistic thinking. That's not my problem, because I'm very particular. As I already said, I'm responsible for what I said. I'm not responsible for what you perceived beyond what I said. If you perceived in a positive way, very nice. For everything, it's left to you. But I learned many things from you all. So you added a very memorable day in my life. I should be thankful for you all, because I should respect Jnanavati Parishad. It's being a person from the field of Ayurveda, being a follower of Charaka Saṃhitā. So I should respect whatever might be the Parishad is. So I should salute to Jnanavati Parishad. Thank you for accepting, for tolerating me for 3 more hours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now moving on to our next felicitation program, I would like to request Professor J. Sir Prasad sir to kindly felicitate sir.
Jnanavati Parishad, Modhavati Parishad, 2 kinds of congresses, assemblage, where he is putting himself in the Mudha, place of Mudha. Do you know, when he contacted me, I would like to participate in this workshop. I know about him for the last 12 years. He's a very good resource person. Then I requested him, sir, you please come as a resource person, not as a participant. Such was his humility. So, thank you very much, sir.